Thank the Honourable President. Is there a supplementary question? Honourable Singh, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, and thank you, Honourable President, for the response. In the question, I did indicate that labour legislation was one of the factors and not the only factor that impacted on the low economic growth. But however, Mr. President, during your reply to Vote 1, you focused largely upon unrest and labour issues within the mining sector and its impact on the economy. And this was justifiable and is still justifiable, given the vast contribution that the mining sector makes to our GDP. However, recent data that has been released suggests that on small and medium enterprises, these enterprises also contribute about half of the total employment and more than 30% of GDP. Yet, the Basic Conditions of Employment Act and the Labour Relations Act sometimes impose regulations that constrain the growth of our SMME sector. In today's edition of the Business Day newspaper, we see data confirming, and I quote, "The current slow economic growth is hurting job creation." Honourable Speaker, government has a responsibility to ensure that everything should be done, not to make the strong weaker, but importantly, make the weak stronger. It is in this regard, Honourable Speaker, that my question to the President is, do you not think, Your Excellency, that it is prudent to move swiftly to deregulate some of the existing labour constraints currently in place on small businesses and sole proprietorships?
Thank you, Honourable Member.
Thank you.
Honourable the President.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Well, the issue of small business, I think, has been discussed and continues to be discussed because everyone agrees that countries that have succeeded to address the questions of economy, growth in the first instance, as well as the employment, small businesses do play a role. But I think it's important to look at the South African history because it has a lot to do with it. It's not like other countries, because we are dealing with an economy that was racially based, and we've got to change that paradigm in the main and deal with the issues. We are also dealing with the kind of labor relations that, in a sense, related to the economy from that point of view. And there are many things, therefore, that we need to address as you address that question. For an example, there are complaints at times with regard to the recognition that democracy has made to farm workers, to domestic workers, who were in the past not part of the labor force. And we've got to begin there to say, how do you determine even the issue of your basic salaries that must be given to such people. So there has been a lot of issues that, in a sense, if you don't look at them, look at the background where we come from, you might look at it like any other country and therefore wonder why is South Africa not doing what other countries are doing. It's because, firstly, we've got to de-racialize the economy. Well, that has been one of the problems, whilst addressing other issues. If you look at the labor, there were such situations that other workers were not recognized as workers. So I'm just saying we have a complex kind of economy, complex kind of society that we've got to be dealing with. Now, if, for an example, as you say, you can't say for us to correct the economy, we must make the strong weaker, but it is the other way around. Let us make the weaker strong. You can't then say, because of the structure of the economy, those who were, in a sense, who had benefited in the labor relations must then relax the laws in order to accept the ones who were disadvantaged. I think that argument again applies here. How then to deal with these? I think that's a tough kind of challenges that we all face in terms of our economy. I think, relatively speaking, we have done very well to address those unique challenges that other countries never had. No country ever had institutionalized racial policy, which in a sense, impacted very seriously on the poor, on the majority, including education and everything. So these are the issues we are dealing with, and I think taking that into consideration, I think we are making progress, and we are all aware of those kind of challenges, and we are trying our level best to ensure that this economy grows and this economy is inclusive. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable President.